The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Oh, yeah. Good morning, everybody. That's right. It is Tuesday, May 21st, and today is National Memo Day for all of you that didn't get the memo. It's also National...
Memo, Jason?
Yeah, bro, there's a big memo we're going to have as our last story. National Strawberries and Cream Day. National WaitStaff Day.
Cream.
Yes. National WaitStaff Day. Big shout out to all the waiters and waitresses out there. Yes, all the people that work in the service industry. I know I appreciate you. Also, National Red Cross Founders Day. I found it interesting that they were honoring the founders of the Red Cross and not like the people that are doing the work of the Red Cross, but nonetheless, those people that are getting those $400,000 checks and whatnot. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above on your screen to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. But kicking it off first, that's right, we have the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte, the Quasimodo caretaker, the baby daddy specialist, and of course, he's a diaper-changing professional. That's right. It is none other than Mr. Rico Lamitte.
And the crowd goes wild.
Oh, yeah, Jason.
Yes.
I think you're going to love today's story, man.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Why? 'Cause it's all about Amsterdam.
Amsterdam, huh?
Amsterdam, you know.
Is that because you're going ham?
Amsterdam.
Oh, boy.
Damn. All right, so, but first, let's talk about California. Because California here, in California, we've got it all. No matter where you are in California, you're never more than just a few hours away of where you want to be. Hours away from the desert, from the mountains, city life, country life, wineries, Hoovervilles.
Stuck on the 405.
Did you say Hooverville?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And pretty soon, Amsterdam. That's right. For all y'all nostalgic world travelers waxing poetic about the good old days when Dutch weed cafes were the norm. Let's be honest, the cafes were the only reason, other than legal prostitution, Americans were going to Amsterdam. I mean, you know, the fields of flowers, windmills, blackface. Golden State's got them all. And better weather, too. All we need is cafes, and we're done with Amsterdam. And that just might be happening, maybe. Because according to the LA Times, is Julia Wick, a bill for that would allow Amsterdam-style cannabis cafes in California passed the state assembly yesterday on a 49-4 vote and is headed to the Senate. But even if the legislature's upper chamber approves AB 1775, legalization remains far from a sure thing because just this past October, 1990s era Pat Riley stunt double, Governor Gavin Newsom, vetoed a prior version of the bill, citing the state's long-standing smoke-free workplace protections. Wick says that the bill would authorize local jurisdictions to allow licensed cannabis retailers to prepare for and sell non-cannabis food, and non-alcoholic beverages. It would also allow the cafes to host live music and other performances. Under current state law, with permitting, patrons can consume cannabis at a dispensary, but dispensaries can't legally sell non-cannabis products like coffee and food, like until recently they could do in Amsterdam. The beef between California and Amsterdam's respective cannabis cultures runs deep. While Californians have been able to buy products at dispensaries since the early 2000s, Dutch cafes have been legal since the 70s. Democrat Assembly member Matt Haney introduced the legislation and framed it as a matter of fairness, arguing cafes would level the playing field for the state's highly taxed and regulated legal weed industry, allowing legitimate businesses to compete with illicit operators who do not play by the same rules. Monday on the Assembly floor, he had this to say: "This is a bill that supports our legal small businesses that just want to diversify and do the right thing. The illegal market is continuing to grow and thrive while our legal cannabis market is struggling." Per the article, Haney cited the government's prior veto, saying he had been working to address Newsom's concerns through amendments to the bill. The new version would prohibit cannabis smoking or vaping in back-of-house lounges where food is being prepared or stored, creating separation between where people are consuming cannabis and other work areas. Rather than taking a statewide approach, the bill would put the decision in the hands of local jurisdictions. Should your jurisdiction decide to greenlight the lounges, it would have to hash out all of its own permitting processes and regulations on its own. As our very own Jason Beck knows very well.
Oh, yes.
West Hollywood put a licensing system in place several years ago, and a handful of cannabis lounges operate within the city's 1.89 square miles. The West Hollywood businesses operate with workarounds that separate the food businesses, while no such licensing system exists in the greater city of Los Angeles. The haters at the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network, the Heart Association, and American Lung Association have all opposed the bill, raising concerns about health effects of secondhand marijuana smoke, arguing that it would undo hard-fought workplace protections by recreating the harmful work environments of the past. I guess like weed smoke is cigarette smoke. That's what we're trying to say. Americans for Safe Access, on the other hand, says patrons and employees would face no health risks because of the highly regulated nature of such establishments. When the Times reached out, a Newsom spokesperson declined to comment on pending legislation. So, there's no telling yet whether he'll pass it into law or not, but if it does, like Toronto, Amsterdam will be the second major world city in just a matter of months by California to be stripped of all its coolness and left to grapple with the true history of its own harboring colonizers. They not like us. I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High 9 News. Let's talk about it, man.
Oh, man.
I love the Cannabis Cafe out in Hollywood. That's a great place.
No, you're talking about the OG Cannabis Cafe, correct, Todd?
I am.
Yes. Yeah, I go there on Wednesday nights for their comedy nights.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a great setup. Everyone is happy, right? They're mixing food with weed. Oh, my God, right? But yeah, it's a great setup, and I love going there. Vegas.
They have beer and wine there too. Now.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, but it's funny because you can't have the weed in the beer and wine area, and you can't have the alcohol in the weed consumption area.
You could walk over, have a beer, then walk back and smoke a joint.
It's actually really quite funny because you have people smoking inside, right? But you have to go outside to have your drink.
Right. It's awesome.
You got to go outside to drink.
Yeah, you got to go outside to the patio to have a drink. Yeah, exactly. I find it extremely ironic. I really enjoy that.
It's pretty funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cool. I think it's great. I love the OG Cannabis Cafe. I think there should be more general places that people can go and consume cannabis while they're doing their daily routines, like grabbing a coffee, catching up with friends, whatever it is. I think it's good, but obviously this is typical. It's leaving it up to the municipalities, and we all know how that goes. So
Yeah,
good luck out there.
The municipalities are going to,
all you applicants.
the municipalities are going to screw it up. But at the same time, too, this bill previously already made it to the governor's desk and he vetoed it. So I don't really understand why the industry is hyping it up again when I'm not sure if they've corrected the things that they would need to do in order for it to pass and get the signature of the governor's office.
Good
He
point.
said the big change in it was a complete separation of where the food is prepared and where any cannabis.
Yeah, but see, that wasn't their gripe before. Their gripe for why. No, but I'm saying what the statement that the governor's office released was in regards to that they didn't think that they needed more places for people to smoke because there's a number of people in Gavin's administration that do not like smoke in general. And so that was the reason that they vetoed that bill, is because they didn't want to have more areas where people are just sitting around and breathing in smoke.
I think that's an advantage of going to a place. You get to sit around and breathe in the smoke.
I mean, I'm with you. It all depends on what you're smoking. I mean, if you're smoking that boof hay, you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to sit in there, but you know what I mean? Yeah.
Those spray packs?
Yeah. Oh, you like that, huh? The buffet? The buffet? Mm-hmm.
I like
The
that.
buffet,
Yeah.
the buffet line.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Vegas or Nevada just opened some lounges here, and so far so good. Everything's
Are they allowing those lounges to serve food, Todd, operate as a traditional restaurant?
It depends on the license. There's 3 different kinds of lounge licenses. Ones that can do that, ones that are attached to dispensaries cannot. But freestanding buildings are allowed to do that, yes.
So you basically telling me is that there's 3 different license types. There's the ones that can, the ones that hope to be, and the ones that never will be.
That's right.
That's what I heard.
Yeah,
Fakes
that's right.
and snakes.
Yep.
Whatever happened to that the topless one that at the Artisan Hotel that they were hyping up?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure it's open yet, but they are still talking about it. And they have an event literally every weekend over at not called the Artisan anymore. It's something else.
Talk is cheap, Todd. We want to see titties and trees open.
I hear you, brother. I will let them know that Jason Beck has spoken.
Yes, please do.
Boobs and blunts.
Oh, boobs and blunts is good too. I like titties and trees though.
Well, these and trees are good.
Don't forget the women like their little Chatham tanning. So you need logs and fog. I mean, you're gonna have to appeal to both genders.
Oh boy, I don't
So
know
you're
about all
gonna
that.
so in the male section, are you saying they should have like bottomless?
I'm just saying I've been practicing my lambada for 15 years now, and should real estate and cannabis not pan out for me, I'm ready. I'm available for bachelorette parties as well.
And shout out
first. Yarrow,
To do what? Right,
Yarrow
to do what
Kubrin?
at these parties?
To respond in Velcro rip-off police officer uniforms to the supposed loud noise complaint.
You heard it here first. Yarrow Kubrin, the cannabis industry's very own Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, right. Shout out to the suitor of music who says Jason Beck declares Gavin Newsom does not want this smoke. Thank you so much for that super chat, suitor of music. Much respect.
Jason Beck, you have better hair than Gavin Newsom.
That part's true.
Heard it here first.
That's a fact. Adam has better hair than Gavin Newsom even.
I even have better hair than Gavin.
Oh, man. And on that, we're going to go to a commercial and we're going to be right back.
Oh, man, that was weird. Hey, you America. Do I look like Sean Connery? Good morning, America. Saman Razani coming to you live from sunny Los Angeles, California with the one and only highest host, Mr. Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast? You can find it on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. No excuses in 2024. If you haven't checked us out, check it out now. And also, check out what the Prophet's doing in 2024.
Oh man, you better hope that didn't air, Yarrow.
Young Kaiser Bros, known in Detroit as White Gucci, known here in California as the man who smokes the best weed in the world.
Yes, that's all
And
factual
also
information.
allegedly, the has way better hair than Gavin Newsom.
Look at
Must
this,
have the
bro.
same stylist as Adam Teehee, who comes on stage. It is Jason Beck.
Yes. Let's Adam, you might as well throw up a poll up there, and let's see what the audience thinks. Who has better hair, myself or Gavin Newsom? Yeah, let's.
I think I should get in on that poll. Just saying.
Well, you'll be able to vote, Todd. You'll be able to vote on it. You'll be able to vote on it.
That's the dark horse.
Yes.
Right.
All right. We got to start this thing, Adam. You guys, California's biggest cannabis delivery company faces foreclosure, and cannabis's largest pot delivery is in financial trouble after it defaulted on a major loan and now faces foreclosure, according to a document filed in Delaware court earlier this month. Ease, which was founded in San Francisco back in 2014 and was once valued at over $700 million, has defaulted on a loan issued by legendary tech investor Jim Clark. Clark is now foreclosing on the company and demanding all collateral owned by Ease, according to the court filing, which was first reported by Weed Week. In its latest move in an ownership battle that's been playing out in court for nearly a year, Clark has been an investor in Ease and has sat on its board of directors since at least 2021. In August of 2022, a shell company co-owned by him issued a controversial $36.9 million loan to Ease that gave Clark the right to seize control of Ease if it failed to meet monthly revenue requirements laid out by Clark's company, according to a 2023 lawsuit filed by other Ease investors. Those other investors alleged in the lawsuit that Clark had illegally misrepresented the company's financial status to attract more investment in the company. The lawsuit was dismissed by a San Francisco judge back in November of 2023. Corey Azzolino, Ease's CEO, told SF Gate via email on Monday that the foreclosure is a dispute among the company's investors, as it could result in Ease's investors, aside from Clark, losing their equity rights to the company. Azzolino maintained it would not affect the company's operations and said the company was still in a healthy financial position. Ease employs over 600 drivers who deliver pot to customers around the state and is the largest pot delivery company in the United States, according to The Guardian. Ease's financial troubles come as the entire California cannabis economy struggles to stay afloat. The largest pot distributor in California failed last year, and MedMen, a pot retailer once worth billions of dollars and that unicorn that they called in the sky, declared bankruptcy last month. Hundreds of pot shops around the state are at risk of going out of business. Ease itself has been no stranger to financial woes over the years. One of its former executives pleaded guilty back in 2021 to a $100 million fraud scheme. Clark is a billionaire tech investor who founded Netscape and has a building at Stanford named after him. Ooh. Azzolino said in an email to SF Gate that there are multiple potential outcomes from Clark's move, but reiterated that despite the foreclosure, the company continues to operate to pay its bills. Ease is one of the best payers in the industry, Azzolino said. But we shall see. That's it for that story, you guys. Man, Ease is under the water. Man, oh man, what are you guys have to say about this? I mean, you know what I'm wondering, Rico, is I'm willing to bet the straw that broke the camel's back was that settlement that they did for the drivers around 420 by making sure that they were paying their gas stipend. And I'm willing to bet that that's what financially broke this company. But nonetheless, I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
Man,
it's another overvaluated. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying as easy as they seem.
What you did there. I think it's another overvaluated cannabis company, right? I mean, is it worth $700 million?
Yeah, but they don't classify themselves as a cannabis company, Todd. They classify themselves as a tech company. And they have maintained that throughout all the lawsuits that we have covered throughout all the years on them.
Yeah, well, they still need to get licensing, right? They need cannabis licensing. They're a cannabis company. It's clear.
Yeah, but
the reason why they are a tech company is because you get a better valuation when you are positioned as a tech company, and it would be unfair of us as pundits to dismiss that intersection of technology and cannabis, whether we're talking about vape tech, ag tech, genetics, intellectual property, and some of these software and, ERP services. So I don't want to just like paint with too broad a brush and dismiss that tech valuations are often applicable. Mm-hmm. The thing is that we don't know what the metrics were that were agreed to when they were given that $36 million infusion by Mr. Clark. Mm-hmm. And so this process doesn't necessarily indicate that they're in any worse position than when he initiated that money or gave them that money, or that they're even that wasn't the right thing for them to do. Just that he set some goals. Mm-hmm. They didn't meet those. And he's has been up against the ropes before. There's been lawsuits. I mean, if you go back and look at the history of this company, this is a full contact sport. And they have some bruises to show for how long this company has been around.
Yes. And shout out, hold on one second, Saman. Shout out to Anna Lewis out there who says, easy come, easy go. That was pretty good. Yeah. Yes. Go ahead, Saman.
I can't even follow that up. That
Monday.
That one. Who's gonna let that live?
Yeah.
I can't tell if you're coming or going.
Easy come, easy go.
Easy come, easy go. Man, oh man, oh man. Big tech in cannabis. Man.
I don't know, man. I think that their CEO, he messed up. He said that they're profitable in California. Mm-hmm. Now they're saying they can't pay their bills. Like, oh man.
Did he say profitable, or did he say a healthy cash position or a healthy financial position? I didn't hear.
It was grounds for the strike. The whole point of the strike is that he said that they are not profitable in other states, but but they are profitable in California. Giving them credence to be.
I'm telling you, bro. This I bet you this labor settlement is what broke the straw on the camel's back. Them giving them 45 cents a mile instead of the 30 cents a mile. This is it. That broke them.
15 cents a mile. Huh?
Yep, that's it. That's what did it.
Maybe it's a labor.
Did it break the 2-hump camel or the 1-hump camel, Jason? Which one?
It doesn't matter. It's not humping no more.
No filter.
It's humpless.
Yeah.
Shout out to camels.
It got a steamroller.
Camel toes.
Whoa.
Is that another name for it?
We're shouting them out, right?
Mm-hmm. And maybe the labor movement will be what people want. And in an inadvertent way, they will be knocking out all the big players, like all the biggest of the big, because they actually have to follow the rules and treat workers like people. Mm-hmm. What a concept.
Fucking crazy.
We're going to keep this train rolling. We're going to roll right on into the voice. That's right, Mr. Todd Denkin. He is the founder of DigiPath Labs, where you should get all your testing done if you're in the great state of Nevada. As well, he's also
Arizona.
And Arizona. He's also Arizona or Nevada. DigiPath Labs.
All them desert states.
Yes. You should be in New Mexico too, Todd. That's another desert state. But he's also the founder of the Smuggleverse, where you can find all of your digital dank as well. That's right. It is none other than Mr. Todd Denkin.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, fans. Thank you, Hyatt 9. My story out of my home state of Florida. Ron DeSantis will respect Florida voters' legislation decision at the ballot, even as state officials urge opposition, according to our favorite CEO at TrueLeave, Kim Rivers. CEO of a major marijuana company says she's confident Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Republican, will respect the will of the people and implement a legislation initiative if voters approve it at the ballot this November, even if he is currently campaigning against it. And as another top state official is arguing that a recent car crash allegedly involving cannabis is a reason to vote against the measure. Rivers, the chief executive of multi-state cannabis operator TrueLeave, that's financially supporting the Smart and Safe Florida campaign, also discussed efforts to strategically target advertisements to build support for the legalization measure amid recent polling that has cast doubts on its prospects of passage. In an interview with the Dales Report on Friday, Rivers again challenged surveys that have been released in weeks since the Florida Supreme Court cleared the initiative for ballot placement. She reiterated that internal polls show the measure passing the comfortable margin, despite the steep 60% threshold required to approve a constitutional amendment. Asked about DeSantis' recent comments opposing the proposal, and Rivers said she isn't convinced that the governor's position is, quote, 100% policy-based, unquote, and the campaign may be facing the criticism because it's a, quote, byproduct of the administration's opposition to a separate abortion rights measure that the court also allowed to appear on the ballot following an unsuccessful challenge. He said, I think there's a lot of strategic conversation right now happening on abortion, and then I think we're a little bit of a byproduct of that. I do think that Governor DeSantis historically has been absolutely a man who I think will continue to stand behind the will of the people once they've spoken. He added, look, I mean, getting over 60% of the electorate to vote in favor of anything is a tall feat. We'll have to go through implementation, but I do not expect or anticipate that Governor DeSantis put up massive roadblocks post-approval in November. Also discussed the recent launch of several advertisements in support of the campaign that are meant to educate voters and help close the gap ahead of Election Day. He said the media campaign is primarily focused on certain areas of the state where they know, based on their data analytics, that there are a lot of folks who are persuadable. He said, really, right now, we're leaning into those messages that we've already test messaged. The series of polls and questions and focus groups just see, again, are they actually effective and moving folks off of the maybe a likely yes or a neutral to an all the way yes or in the bank voters. So right now, the goal for the short term is to increase that number of in the bank voters to get as high as possible. Pardon the pun. We know during campaigns that once a negative advertisement starts, the number will naturally slip. So you want to have that starting point, again, as high as possible. Martin Safe Florida separately announced in March that it was working to form a coalition of veterans to build voter support for the reform, and the campaign has since formally launched that initiative. While opposition advertising might not have launched yet, state officials have made clear they're against the legalization measure. That includes, most recently, Florida Chief Financial Officer Jimmy Patronis, a Republican. Speaking with WESH2 News last week, Patronis said a recent vehicular accident that killed 8 people involving a driver who allegedly used marijuana and various prescription drugs, including Valium and Xanax, should motivate people to vote against the cannabis measure. There are 8 lives that are never going to see their parents again because somebody was abusing a substance that they have gotten illegally, he said, adding that while he recognized the medical value of cannabis for certain patients, he's a, quote, hard no on adult legalization. He said, I would err on the side of caution and vote no. Right now, just allowing the voters to go and make it recreational. Me, that's like giving a 9-year-old kid the keys to the candy store. They will abuse it and take advantage of it in ways that are not in the best interest of their own well-being. Once again, telling us how we want to feel. The Florida Republican Party also has officially come out against a marijuana legalization initiative this month, clearing the way for DeSantis to raise money to fund an opposition campaign against the measure. DeSantis also previously predicted voters will reject the measure initiative in November and argued that the passage would, quote, reduce the quality of life in Florida. Whether the official's comments against the measure sway voters in a meaningful way is yet to be seen. While the campaign and companies backing the measure remain optimistic about its prospects this November, recent surveys continue to raise questions about that possibility. For example, a survey was done for the Florida Chamber of Commerce by Cherry Communications found that 58% of Florida likely voters back the legislation measure, compared to 37% who oppose it and 5% who are undecided. As Rivers pointed out last week, however, the chamber was actively opposed initiative. While the campaign hasn't shared its internal polling, it is the case that prior surveys have shown the initiative in a more comfortable position than the 2 most recent polls did. A University of North Florida poll released last November found that nearly 70% of voters are in favor of the reform. For example, economic analysis from the Florida legislature and DeSantis' office estimate that the marijuana legalization initiative would generate between $195 and $431 million in new sales tax revenue annually if voters enact it. Those figures could increase considerably if lawmakers opted to impose an additional excise tax on cannabis transactions, similar to the ones in place in other legalized states. Of course, they're going to do that. If approved, the measure would change the state constitution to allow existing medical cannabis companies in the state, such as TrueLeave, the campaign's main financial contributor, begin selling marijuana to adults over 21. It contains provision that would allow but not require lawmakers to take steps for the approval of additional businesses. Home cultivation by consumers would not be allowed under the proposed as drafted. Adults would be able to purchase and possess up to 1 ounce of cannabis, only 5 grams of which could be marijuana concentrate products. The 3-page measure also omits equity provisions favored by advocates, such as expungements or other relief for people with prior cannabis convictions. It's nice how they they omit that stuff. That's the really important stuff, right? Nearly all of the campaign's financing has come from existing medical marijuana businesses, predominantly multi-state operators. Recently, the Florida Division of Elections released the campaign finance activity report in the first quarter of the year, showing nearly $15 million in new contributions. TrueLeave, the main financial backer of the initiative, led the pack again with $9.225 million in donations during the first quarter. It follows the company previously contributing about $40 million as advocates work to collect more than 1 million signatures to qualify for ballot placement. Company CEO also said recently that contrary to the governor's claims, legalization could actually improve the quality of life for Florida residents. Despite his opposition to the initiative, DeSantis, a former GOP presidential candidate who dropped out of the race in January, previously accurately predicted that the state's highest court would ultimately allow the measure on November's ballot. DeSantis also weighed in on another relevant cannabis policy issue earlier this year. While still a presidential candidate, he said that he doesn't believe the federal gun ban for state legal marijuana consumers is constitutional. Florida's former Agricultural Commission, Nikki Fried, brought a lawsuit against the Biden administration over the rule, though the governor did not get involved. And prior to dropping out of the race, DeSantis also said that if elected president, he would respect the decisions that states make on marijuana legalization, despite his personal view that reform has a negative impact. I'm Todd Denkin with High at 9 News, and honestly, I agree with Kim Rivers when she says legalization could actually improve the life for Florida residents.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, Yarrow. Go ahead.
Okay. Saman, do you want to call or text Kim real quick and tell her this is a cannabis show and not an abortion show, and we shouldn't be talking about that?
I
just want to know.
I only said the word abortion twice.
Hey, Saman, if you're on the phone and that's for me, take a message because I'm on High at 9 News right now. Okay. So
go ahead.
So
Yarrow.
here's the thing: it is absolutely not acceptable to ban home grow. To have modest abilities for people to create their own cannabis is a massive miss.
Yes.
Social equity becomes a little bit of the electric third rail because while the intention behind social equity programs is noble and needs to continue to be prioritized, the execution of most social equity programs has left a lot lacking. But not even trying to have that be a part of that, I think is a real miss. The other thing is like, can we all just agree, with the exception of Beck, that DeSantis is like not really the kind of person that I think has an insightful policy mind. And it scares me when he weighs in or opines, because if he's not saber rattling against Disney or allowing massive multi-level condos to collapse because they have a lack of safety standards in their construction, like, what does this guy do? I mean, all I know is he wears platform cowboy boots, and who does that? I just think that at the end of the day, this notion that he may accept the will of the voter, like Kim Rivers was very polite and diplomatic in the way that she positioned it. But I think what she's really trying to say is that DeSantis has been a thirsty, headline-grabbing politician for a really long time and often takes these sort of contrarian positions to really play to the press. And her hope is that he doesn't do this when and if this passes. The other thing I just want to point out as a footnote to this article is it talks about the person mentioning the 8 people who were killed or injured in a vehicular accident. And obviously, my sympathies go out to the victims and their families. And what is terrible about the way that that was quoted is, first of all, that person was allegedly on benzodiazepine. So it's not like cannabis was the only thing that's allegedly in their system. And then secondly, the quote from the person says that maybe they acquired the cannabis illegally. And so I just think that those are the kinds of things where if people are prefacing their quote with a maybe, then I'm just going to offer that maybe that's not a quote that should be covered.
All right, so here's where I stand on this thing. So that car crash that you referenced in the beginning of your story, Todd. I covered that story on our video this last Saturday of the top stories of the blacklist. So if you haven't got to check this out, you can check out that whole story there. Make sure you check it out. It's up on our page right now. So this guy that crashed, he admitted that he smoked weed the day before. Okay. Meanwhile, he's on his way over to the pain clinic to get his Suboxone. Okay, so this guy is, and not to mention there was some other drugs that he had done prior to that morning. And so this is basically just a page out of Project Sam's playbook that since he admitted that there was cannabis involved the day prior, we can utilize that to say that was the cause. Even though we know that there's other substances that are highly involved within this crash, but they're going to use it as a scapegoat because it's all that they got. So that's for that part.
That's a very Florida thing to do.
I mean, as it pertains with Kim Rivers and her statements, I don't know why anyone is paying attention to her and this statement, because Ron DeSantis is strictly about the Constitution and whatnot, and so to think that he wouldn't support something because it's not what he wanted, but it's what the people wanted. I don't even know why that's news. I don't find that to be newsworthy. Personally,
look what he did with Disney and the charter that they had with Florida.
He should be doing that with Disney. I'm in support.
Somebody writes him a big check. He's going to go in that direction.
Hold on, slow down. Let me finish. Let me finish the thought. Let me finish the thought with the meatball Ron. Okay. Now with meatball Ron, this is the thing: is that all that Kim Rivers and them are doing is trying to stage and posture right now, because everybody knows that this ballot initiative is not going to pass in Florida because it has to get 60% or greater. It's going to pass by like 53 to 55%, something like that. That's where it's going to pass at when it passes when it gets voted on in November. But the fact that they are construing this and saying that the amendment didn't pass, I think is misguiding and trying to throw water on the fire of the people that are pushing the movement to legalize cannabis in the state of Florida, because ultimately it's going to pass by greater of a percentage of a population, but because they're changing the Constitution in the state, it has to pass that 60% threshold. So therefore, if it was in other states or whatnot, and all you have to do is win a majority, then technically it would pass. But because how their law works out there, that's not how it necessarily works, even though it technically would have passed.
60% is a tough number.
It's a big number. It is. It's a big number. It takes a lot of work.
Yep.
A lot of money.
It does. Yeah.
Lots of money.
Hang outside, the strip club out there and get that support.
Oh yeah, and sell Girl Scout cookies.
That's right. Support single moms.
KOD.
Support single moms. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. On that, we're going to go to a commercial and we're going to be right back. Support single moms.
The Control Tower from Highly Educated has perfected the dab. Utilizing the concept of thin film evaporation, you can waste none of it and taste all of it. The micro texture of the SE pillar increases nucleation at elevated temperatures. And with the tower propelling at 2,600 RPMs, it's certainly the most efficient dab experience to date. The Control Tower from Highly Educated.
Stop what you're
All
doing.
right, stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you hit that like button. I know you'll appreciate it. We'll appreciate it, and YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.highatnightnews.com. I'm Jason Beck, and this is Smoky Vanilla. And if you want to feel as good as I look, then you need to get a stretch and smoke with Smoky Vanilla.
Hi, I'm Smoky Vanilla. I have my bachelor's degree in kinesiology, and I'm a sports massage therapist and stretch coach. I focus mostly on individuals that are in sport with chronic pain or injury. I love to intuitively create and customize a session based on the individual that I'm working with. We'll go over a few postural assessments, work together to create a wellness journey based on the health history, past injuries, or anything still affecting you today. And we'll get you back on your feet right away with less pain.
We're about to stretch, and then we're gonna smoke, because we're gonna get on our stretch and smoke. If you want to feel as good as I look, you need to come on down and get a stretch and smoke with none other than Smoky Vanilla.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, Rico, we need to announce the super chat.
All right, announce that.
Yes.
Go on with it. Come on.
All right, Miss Anna Lewis, big old super chat. Thank you so much. Anna says, "Hi, Elliot. I love you." And we want to welcome the CEO of Catalyst, Mr. Elliot Lewis.
And the crowd goes wild.
Yes, there we go. All right, proceed, Rico.
All right, so before we get to the lovebirds out here in High at Night News land, reporting live from the Mushroom Kingdom, where he just taught a menopausal Princess Peach how to say hello, hi again. This fellow Dope Dad's a 15-year industry vet, award-winning solvent extraction pioneer, and got some choice things to say on this beautiful Tuesday morning. Coming to the stage, Saman Razani.
Salutations, all you smokers out there. Welcome to another fantastic Tuesday on the best cannabis news show in the world. I got a great story coming to you from, our favorite Midwestern town, state, but, town. Cleveland's a great city. Ohio, talking about their recreational marijuana movement. Ohio medical cannabis businesses can soon apply for licenses to sell recreational marijuana. Marijuana Moment reports Jason's favorite news article from his favorite people. We're excited to serve Ohioans that they're just looking for a good time, or perhaps responsibly as an alternative to alcohol or something to help them sleep. That's what one quote says from one of the cannabis business owners in lovely Ohio. Ohio medical marijuana companies are gearing up to begin the process of entering the recreational marijuana business. The Joint Committee on Agency Rule Review, JCARR, aptly named, received approved regulations from the Division of Cannabis Control, meaning dispensaries can start applying for a recreational license in the coming weeks, and sales could begin as soon as sometime in June. We will, as soon as possible, put in our applications for dual use operations at all of our active licenses, said Brandon Nemak, PharmaCann's Government and Regulatory Affairs Director. PharmaCann is a level 1 medical marijuana cultivation facility in Licking County. They have 3 dispensaries in Ohio.
Licking County.
Licking, all right.
Gotta lick it.
Licking before you stick it. Ohio, they're in Cincinnati, Hillsborough, and Wapakoneta. Wow, that is a wonderful, wonderful Native American name. We are prepared at the production level to submit our applications and work with regulations to begin operations, Nemak said. The applications aren't available just yet. The DCC needs to file the rule in final form with JCARR, the Legislative Service Commissions, and the Secretary of State's office by Wednesday. The application will be available before June 7th, Medical marijuana dispensaries can apply for dual use so they can also sell recreational marijuana. There will also be applications available for companies that only want to sell recreational marijuana. Selling marijuana recreation will cut down on the illicit market, said Adam Goers, Senior Vice President of Corporate Affairs for the cannabis company, and also one of the biggest lobbyists lobbying for Schedule 3, if anybody didn't know that, Mr. Goers. It's a long time coming, he said. The illicit marketplace is going to be displaced. Goers is looking forward to being able to sell to Ohioans who didn't want to go through the process of getting medical marijuana card. The cannabis company, headquartered in New York, has locations in Dayton, Logan, Marietta, Monroe, and Warren. We're excited to serve Ohioans as they are just looking for a good time or perhaps responsible as an alternative to alcohol or something to help them sleep, he said. Ohioans voted to pass Issue 2, making it legal for adults 21 and older to smoke, vape, and ingest weed. People can also grow up to 6 plants with up to 12 per household. It's amazing to see the voters put their voice behind this and for the state and the regulators to follow through as they have, Nemec said. This comes as the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration announced it will reclassify marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 drug. Finally, the federal government is acknowledging that cannabis has medical value, something that tens of millions of Americans could tell you, Goer said, which kind of to me just, is a little bit of it turns the knife a little bit in me. Marijuana will remain illegal at the federal level, but reclassifying would have an impact on states like Ohio that have legalized recreational cannabis. The most tangible difference the most tangible difference it's going to make, and it is, I think, a significant tangible difference, is it changes the tax reality for cannabis businesses, says Doug Berman, Executive Director of the Drug Enforcement and Policy Center at Ohio State University. The marijuana industry has had to deal with more burdensome federal tax treatment than any other business because it's been a Schedule 1 drug, Berman said. The big deal about the move from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 is that it will remove the tax problem so that basically marijuana businesses will be able to deduct their costs from their profits like any other business, he said. Changing the tax structure for marijuana could mean more people want to get into the marijuana industry, Berman said. The higher taxes have caused marijuana businesses to sometimes pass the costs on to the customer. So reclassifying marijuana could mean folks see lower prices, Berman said. I think the tax piece of it will likely benefit consumers looking for a more affordable product. And that's my story. I'm even sorry for having to read that story. It's just a lot of nonsense. I don't even know where to begin.
Well, I'll help you out, Saman. I'll help you out where to begin. I'll help you out where to begin. I mean,
do we talk about the low price of cannabis in all the other states, maybe not Ohio, but I mean, where are we going with this? Where are these geniuses who are analyzing this stuff at such a high level? Where are they coming up with this?
Well, the thing is you have to realize Ohio sells their weed in tenths, so that's how they're able to get that higher valuation.
Well, I mean, look, it's a commodity. We're seeing commodity pricing across the board, where you're not even being able to bamboozle the East Coasters with the Cali weed anymore. I mean, the prices are basically stabilizing across the board, especially in the black market.
I just don't think that trading cannabis for Schedule 3 is worth 280E relief as like the only thing that you get. I don't know. I mean, retails are hit the hardest out of any side of the cannabis supply chain. Elliot, what do you think? Do you think that going to Schedule 3 is worth 280E as a trade-off?
I don't think anybody knows the answer to where it's going to go. Look, we might be able to get some credit cards, 280E. I just don't trust the government. And at the end of the day, if you don't think big corporate interests are back there trying to figure out how to fuck us at the Fed, and this might be the first step, you haven't been watching. So, we got our head on a swivel. Again, in the short term, it looks like it's going to be a little bit of relief, but, I call it a potential Trojan horse. Nobody knows. If the people most immersed in the industry aren't sure what Schedule 3 means, ain't nobody really going to know how this thing's going to turn out.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Fair enough.
But I can tell you this, I totally trust.
So, Elliot, what you're saying is that Ohio weed is not for the people.
I mean, we'll see, but I could just say this. I totally trust the government anytime they get involved, and they're not going to fuck us. So we have nothing to worry about.
Well, you know what too, Rico. According to what Elliot just said, it sounds like Nick Lachey is working for the government of Ohio.
The Backstreet Boys.
Mm-hmm. Nick Lachey is the whole reason that there's even cannabis in Ohio in the first place. It's all because of Nick Lachey.
Come on, Jason.
Just saying.
Nick Lachey, we're gonna hang it on Nick Lachey.
Yeah, bro, you don't know about this? I don't know. I don't know how you don't know about this. We're gonna have to show you some old past episodes. Apparently.
Maybe because it's just never been. His name just doesn't.
They just did the Ohio version of Not Like Us.
Exactly.
Walking pretty similar.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I really, it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth when I see like people like Adam Goers out there. This dude was, like with the trumpet in hand for Curaleaf at the federal lobbying days, for the past how many years, pushing with all that money to do exactly what we're all saying is not the best move for cannabis, right? So it's like, the issue is that these people are the ones who are out there on the front line now. So the frontliners like us that were initially there pushing hard with, I guess, I mean, at least we had good intentions, but now we've been replaced. And the frontline people are this guy. Mm-hmm. And he's still sounding the trumpet. And now he's just even more entrenched into that, like, MSO, that large cannabis conglomerate kind of situation. So I don't know. I really feel like a place like Ohio, where weed has been coming from Ohio for a long time. There's some famous strains that have come out of Ohio. I think Dark Death Star is one of them. I think that Lemon G is definitely one of them too. So I know that there's a lot of Ohioans that have been cultivating cannabis for a long time. I think that in any sense, we all just keep doing what we're doing. But as we see the regulations coming forward, it's going to become tougher. So hopefully there's people still on the ground in the grassroots movement that are making some headway, and hopefully they will have a piece of that in Ohio. But I am happy for Ohioans in general that they're going to be a little more free to smoke cannabis. So that's good. Much respect.
Do you think that the activists the activists that got them to speed this thing up, they bit off more than they could chew, and it's kind of their fault because
that's how they got stuck with tents instead of eighths, Rico.
Yeah, they got stuck. Not only did they get stuck with tents, but they're the ones that wanted they wanted them to open up the legal dispensaries sooner, and the only way they could have done that with the ones that have framework is with the medical shops.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, the medical stores should be the first ones to benefit off of adult use sales in any new market, as far as I'm concerned. 100%. They're the ones that put in the work and have been servicing the community and have built the relationships within those jurisdictions to be able to do that. So I'm
oh my God, I agree with Jason 100%.
I know, me too.
Yeah, I'm like, wait.
Agree with Jason.
Mm-hmm. I think we all agree with that.
It's a topsy-turvy world.
Yeah, you can't have it both ways. Like they were the ones that were set up to be first movers, and now it's looking like the at-large bid. That one ain't going to be coming out until next year, if that.
Speaking of having it both ways, since I have a hard stop at 10, any chance I could get an intro and read my article?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Let's do it. So up next, y'all know who it is. Is the Sebastopol Sage, the big proponent of bottomless blunt bars.
Oh boy,
coming down is another dope dad, bringing the heat on this Tuesday, Mr. Yarrow Kubrin.
Thank you. It means a lot to be the second dopest dad on the streets, according to my teenage son. Elliot, welcome. Call me sometime. Let's talk some cannabis real estate. I am very saddened that I'm not going to be able to be on this show for the very last article being covered, which is
I thought you had a hard out. What?
Hey, this is my foreplay. Don't interrupt the rhythm here, buddy.
Oh boy.
I'm very saddened that I won't be able to be here for the last article of this show, which arguably is not just about you, but is a really, really important article that we're covering today. My article, a little less important, but nonetheless, this is hot off the press today from Marijuana Moment from Ben Adlin. Former Obama drug czar says marijuana is not medicine and that big cannabis is behind federal rescheduling decision. The former U.S. drug czar under President Barack Obama skepticism of marijuana's medical value, and the Biden administration's move to federally reschedule cannabis in a new interview warning of ominous industry influence over politicians in the country's medical review process. It's not medicine, said former director of the Office of National Drug Control Policy, Gil Kowalski, I'm thinking maybe Polish, speaking on the podcast of former Representative Mary Bono, R. California. This is all big cannabis, he added. This isn't people my age that are just old hippies that just want to open up a pot shop somewhere. This is big business like big tobacco. Absolutely. Carol Kowalski, also a former commissioner of U.S. Customs and Border Protection and a police chief in Seattle and other cities, was responding to a question from Bono about the opioid industry. Oh, conflation. Specifically, the drug maker Purdue Pharma and its role in the nation's ongoing opioid overdose crisis. What you and I observed, I think, with pretty good front row seats, was the Purdue business dealings and the Purdue ethos, the way Purdue decided to do business, which made this challenge and this problem so difficult, Bono said. Do you think we could see something like another Purdue Pharma business model again? Well, in a way, I think we're seeing a bit of that now with the marijuana industry and the fact that they want to reschedule. Kara Kowalski replied, and it looks like that could certainly happen. He seemed to accuse Big Cannabis of being behind the Department of Health and Human Services finding that cannabis has accepted medical value and should be placed on Schedule 3 of the Controlled Substance Act, noting that an earlier HHS review of marijuana scheduling status denied its medical efficacy. Health and Human Services, although 3 years earlier, decided not to reschedule it because there was no evidence of its health, he said. Now they turned around 3 years later and want to reschedule it. It just looks like the Department of Justice will go along with it. Bono herself offered that street-level dealers is no longer just some hippie. It is now a member of a cartel and part of organized crime, the former congresswoman said. And the whole business, if people truly knew what was behind it, they would be shocked. Later in the podcast, when Bono asked about the politics of marijuana policy, Kowalski again referenced the industry's political influence. I mean, you had the former Speaker of the House, John Boehner, supporting the issue of marijuana, and there was a lot of money, he said. I mean, it's just like watching big tobacco all over again on that. In his role as chief of police in Seattle, this gentleman opposed a 2023 ballot initiative that instructed the Seattle Police Department to consider marijuana possession its lowest enforcement priority. And in 2019, following his exit from government, he told lawmakers in Mexico, who at the time were considering an end to prohibition in that country, that they would need robust regulations in place. Yet he also acknowledged that state-level legalization in the U.S. had reduced the appetite for drugs that are trafficked illegally across the border. The latest CBP data shows that marijuana intercepted at the southern border recently fell to record lows. At the time, the comments were seen as noteworthy given that he had previously said the word legalization was not in his vocabulary nor in Obama's. His latest comments come amid an announcement from the Biden administration that the federal government intends to reschedule marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. The action is being largely praised as a historic step in the right direction, with the federal government recognizing for the first time in 50 years that cannabis has accepted medical value and a lower abuse potential than other Schedule 1 drugs, such as heroin. On the other hand, activists have emphasized that rescheduling does not federally legalize marijuana or provide corrective relief to people who've been criminalized over it. So I'm going to wrap this up in the interest of time, and I will just say that what I appreciated about this was let's burst some longstanding notions about the Obama administration being a liberal, left of center, or progressive administration. This gentleman who was appointed as the drug czar was not in any way, not only not forward thinking, but not aligned with the science at the time when he had that position. And so seeing this guy take a post-service victory lap on a podcast from a Republican in Southern California who earned her seat because her husband died is unfortunately news to report today. This is Yarrow Kubrin, High at 9 News. I'd like to know what the rest of you think.
My favorite part of that whole story was that you got to say the word boner in a story.
Oh, boy.
This dude is still mad at the Cole memo.
I mean, the Cole memo was trash. It didn't do anything. It had no teeth.
You were right in alignment with this guy.
I'm 100%. I'm 100% in alignment with this guy, and this guy is basically
it opened up the whole industry.
Let me tell you something. Memo. For anyone,
not medicine, 100%. Jason, you saying weed ain't medicine?
No, that's not what I'm saying. You're putting words in my mouth.
You're 100% in alignment with him. That's what he's saying.
No, I'm in alignment with what he's saying as far as like the fact that the cannabis industry is accepting this Schedule 3 is giving it straight to Big Pharma. That's what he's really saying.
No, Jason, that is incredibly selective. I invite you to reread the article before the foot in your mouth goes all the way up to the ankle.
That's what I got out of it, because I'm looking for the bottom line in all this, and that's basically what the bottom line is.
The bottom line is he's about 40 years behind on science.
He may be 40 years behind on science, but he's right on the main policy.
I'm going to exit stage left.
I think that's the right thing to do.
Just because you're a turtle doesn't mean you can't finish the race.
Ooh, chopper style right now. Got my mouth over here, got my eyes.
Yarrow, you have a great day today. You have a great day. I'm gonna roll right into this last story for you guys. Big news, and let me start by congratulating Elliot Lewis, sitting next to me, the CEO of Catalyst, on the fact that a lawsuit was recently dropped. Congratulations. Adam, we got some. There we go. Yes. Because Glass House Farms withdraws a defamation suit citing Catalyst financial viability concerns and harassments, threats to customers, Glass House Brands Incorporated, and Glass House, one other company. One of the fastest growing vertically integrated cannabis companies in the U.S. announced today that it will be voluntarily dismissing without prejudice its defamation lawsuit against Catalyst Cannabis Co., citing serious concerns about Catalyst's financial viability, which could render a judgment worthless, and harassment threats by Catalyst to Glass House's customers and its customers' customers. Glass House sued Catalyst, a.k.a. South Court Holdings and South Court Management, and its two principals, Elliot Lewis and Damian Martin, for making defamatory statements accusing Glass House of selling into the unlicensed cannabis market. Claims that Glass House has vehemently denied, and Catalyst has not provided any credible evidence supporting its defamatory statements, despite promising to do so 9 months ago. Instead, Catalyst has said that industry-wide, up to 93% of all legally cultivated cannabis ends up being diverted to the illicit market. And the licensed operators should be held responsible for downstream diversions to the illicit market. Essentially, Catalyst wants to put the entire industry on trial, something that Glass House does not want to be a part of. Glass House only conducts business with licensed operators and has no interest in subjecting its customers to similar harassment from Catalyst. While Glass House is confident it would prevail in its defamation litigation, it said it has grave concerns about the financial viability of Catalyst and its ability to pay a judgment. As is widely reported, the cannabis retail market in California is under serious distress. Catalyst recently announced layoffs and the closure of one of its stores, citing the need for some repairs. Moreover, Catalyst CEO Elliot Lewis boasted on social media about his company's practice of systematically paying less excise taxes than what the state would want, paying $2 million less in one quarter alone. Sorry, we got to make sure that the links aren't included in this. If this number is consistent throughout the year, it would mean that Catalyst would be paying $8 million a year less in excise taxes than most, if not all other cannabis retailers in the state with comparable sales. Catalyst's CEO also elevated that revealed that his company is being audited by the state of California in an embroiled in separate litigation challenging emergency regulations enacted by the CDFTA, the state agency responsible for collecting excise tax, which he says are directed at Catalyst and calls the Catalyst regs. Catalyst is also involved in several other lawsuits, including a case against the Department of Cannabis Control, the state agency charged with enforcing cannabis laws, and is in disputes with municipalities and its employees union addressing the customer harassment issue. Glass House said that proceeding with the lawsuit would necessitate revealing details about its customers. Even though they are all licensed, Catalyst made it clear that its intent was to serve similarly invasive subpoenas on Glasshouse customers looking for diversion downstream. Even if Glasshouse's customers like Glasshouse had no knowledge of any such diversion, Glasshouse said, while protecting the identity of its customers. It produced to Catalyst volumes of documents, including manifests for all of its sales over the relevant time period, and Glasshouse's documents prove it only sells legally to licensed brands, manufacturers, and distributors throughout California's track and trace system, better known as Metric. Since all of the Glasshouse's customers are licensed, Catalyst does not need to know their identities. Glasshouse said it believes this substantiates that Catalyst knows Glasshouse does not divert, and instead that Catalyst is only interested in harassing Glasshouse's customers. The company said while it has no knowledge of any of its customers selling to the illicit market and it has nothing to hide, it is not willing to subject its customers and the industry to such abuse. In a quote from Kyle Kazan, the co-founder and chairman and CEO of Glasshouse, said, "Despite the difficulty of the retail market in California, our business continues to thrive. The first quarter of 2024 was another very successful quarter for Glasshouse, where we exceeded Q1 guidance across all operating metrics, including cash, sales, production, and adjusted EBITDA." Given the foregoing, a spokesperson for Glasshouse added, "We concluded that from a financial standpoint, there was a high likelihood the judgment against Catalyst, Mr. Lewis, and Mr. Martin wouldn't be worth the paper it was written on. We felt our time and money was better spent serving our customers and growing our business so that we can continue to provide the best quality cannabis at the lowest price." Glasshouse said Catalyst's claims will be proven false through the defeat of the separate litigation Catalyst filed against Glasshouse for unfair competition. And about Glasshouse, Glasshouse is one of the fastest growing vertically integrated cannabis companies in the U.S. with a dedicated focus on the California market and a building leading lasting brands to serve customers across all segments. From its greenhouse cultivation operations to its manufacturing practices, from brand building to retailing, the company's efforts are rooted in the respect for people, the environment, and the community. The co-founders Kyle Kazan, chairman and CEO, and Graham Farrar, board member and president, instilled at the outset. Though its portfolio of brands, which includes Glasshouse Farms Plus products as well and Mama Sue Wellness, Glasshouse is committed to realizing its vision of excellence, outstanding cannabis products produced substantially for the benefit of all. And that is pretty much all that we have for you on this story. But I'll tell you this, I've been in a lot of lawsuits, and I don't know anyone that drops a defamation lawsuit like that. And I find it a little interesting that they're saying that because they don't believe that they would pay on this. And I'm not just saying this because you're here, Elliot, but I'm saying this because throughout the industry, Catalyst is known for paying all of its vendors. And so, therefore, for them to say that, I find that is a little bit suspect as why they would drop the defamation lawsuit unless they know it's just going to end bad for them in court. But I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I can't wait to hear what y'all have to say as well on this. And this is Jason Beck for the High at 9 News with the lawsuit dropped, defamation lawsuit from Catalyst and Glasshouse Farms. What do y'all have to say?
I guess
Glasshouse still trying to throw stones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
I'll drop my
on the way out.
I'll drop my 2
I can't wait to hear what Elliot has to say.
I'll drop my 2 cents on it.
Go for it.
Look, shout out to High at 9. Appreciate Jay Beck for having me on. I mean, the statement is just ridiculous. If you believe that Kyle has a 12-inch penis and shoots fireballs at his ass and is 7 foot tall, you believe that statement is genuine. To say we're uncollectible is the biggest joke ever. By the way, and again, I'm gagged up on some stuff, but I assure you, they believe that we're collectible, right? And without getting too deep into it, I don't like to talk enterprise value, but sharky ass New York business bankers a year and a half ago got us into the fucking 9 figures. The only thing true in that statement is we do have an excise tax move that we do utilize, and in so much as we end up losing that case, we'll fucking handle our business. But it's all timing, right? So basically, what happened is they fought us tooth and nail on some discovery issues. We won those motions. They freaked out. They filed a motion for reconsideration. They still fucked us in so much as again, I'm gag ordered a little bit. They provided voluminous documents. Yeah, a big pile of shit, steaming shit that's 10,000 pages. Sure, those voluminous documents. But we went in to get the court order basically enforced, and then all of a sudden they dropped the case. So again, I mean, it's just ridiculous to think that, and look, you could have a debate on whether or not you think we should have filed the lawsuit. That's a fair debate to have, right? But the idea that we're down at the 1 yard line about to punch one in and the judge is about to smack him up the face for not fucking following a court order, and then all of a sudden they dismiss because we're not collectible, shut the F up. And last thing I'll add is they couldn't wait to get a judgment that's not collectible, from Element 7. In fact, they paraded around for optics. But, again, they had a...
And didn't Element 7, they were unable to pay that.
Yeah, no, and they paraded around and they do it for optics. And let me tell you, Kyle is Mr. Optics. The whole reason he even filed the defamation claim was for optics. And what they thought was we would anti-slap it, which without getting too down the legal rabbit hole would have taken 18 months. It's public speech of a public figure. But we did not anti-slap it. We stuck our balls on the table and we wanted to engage in the discovery process and speed up the process 18 months. We probably could have got out of it on an anti-slap. Not only that, when I was talking shit, I sit around the office. I hope they get us for defamation. That will open up the discovery door. And they figured out real quickly that eventually you have to fucking pay the piper. You can't obfuscate. You can't duck. The court, the superior court, will order you to hand over the discovery. And again, look, there's been some debate out there whether or not we should do it. Here's my opinion. Any business that's claiming to be a legal cannabis business and is publicly traded is probably injecting about $70 million from the black market, not directly. By the way, read their fucking statement, parcel the words. They never say the vast majority of our product doesn't end up on the black market. Elliott's claims are not true because they would end up in the defamation thing. So, how does this end? I always think the legal market is the way forward. I don't think black market forever is like a real thing, whether it's 10 years or 20 years. And what they're setting up to me is just unacceptable, bringing on, another 300,000 pounds of canopy, which was one of the main motivations for us, filing it. But again, debate the merits of the case, whether or not we should have done it, whether or not that's Snitchville or not. I'm comfortable with our position in that. But there is no debate that their statement is total fucking bullshit. The end. Stick a fork in them. Now we go on offense. We have our offensive case. It is nice to get that off our head. And, we'll see where it goes. Probably about another 6 months from getting in the backfield. They're saying they're trying to get out on a technicality on the pleadings, saying it's hard to prove direct damages. But again, they're never attacking the substance of our claim. So that's my kind of 2 cents on it.
Interesting. What do you guys say, Rico?
I just gotta say, Glass House seems like they are just they're just really toeing the line with this statement. Like Elliot said, it was very, very one-sided. It's obvious that this is a thinly veiled press release by them on this one. And I thought it was very interesting. Yeah, you dropped the defamation suit. Yet you're trying to say that you're still talking all that shit about Catalyst in this statement. Right, so I don't know. It just sounds like they're talking out both sides of the mouth. I would love to get a equally balanced rant from Elliot Lewis.
Well, I did drop on, and look, there's certain things I want to respect the court's orders, and we did some things that were gag ordered. Oh God, only if I had a camera for that.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, they know we're collectible. That's all I'll say. Like this whole idea that look, this fucking guy paid like $6.7 million for a fucking Lenmore in a Morro Bay. Like, shut the fuck up, dog. You don't think some of our bangers 27 deep are collectible? Like, it's a ridiculous thing to say. And honestly, even if he thought we weren't collectible, for his shareholders, he would have got it just so he could say he could have won. That's probably what would have happened. So look, Kyle is not the they didn't give a fuck about the collection per se. It was all fear and optics. And once he realized, oh shit, this motherfucker's about to slam one in on us, and we got to hand it over. And just look at the court filings. We just filed for the court to fucking uphold the discovery order, which they fought, refought, reconsidered, lost. Oh, now just coincidentally, that's the time you're gonna dismiss it. Like, stop, bro. Just fucking stop. You're fucking full of shit. That's it.
What it sounds like, what it sounds like is like the high school bully that knows this little motherfucker is on the wrestling team and he can probably whip your ass. And he's like, oh, I'm not gonna fight him. I'm too nice of a person. That's what it just kind of sound like. I don't want to fuck him up too bad, so I'm just gonna go home now and fuck them.
People drop lawsuits when they realize they can't win.
That's right. That's right. I mean, think about it.
Say to the public, it doesn't matter, because if they thought they could win, they'd still be in this lawsuit.
Exactly, and especially here in California, you have people that file lawsuits for the craziest things that absolutely have no possibility of winning, but still pay for the litigation and just to go through it time and time and time again. So if you're dropping a lawsuit, there's a reason. It's not just because. Whatever.
Very public lawsuit at that, right?
And I'm going to say this. We know that they're not dropping the lawsuit because Glass House doesn't have the financial means to pay their litigation bills.
Oh no, they're running a 4-on-1 with fucking Venable against my fucking one-off guy, who, by the way, is the motherfucking go to litigation. Shout out to Jeff Agostini. Took 4 dudes from Venable, one-on-one. Obviously, the offensive, case continues. But in my entire life of litigating, and I've been in a little bit, even when you dismiss a lawsuit, you try to get a release from all the parties, and you sign some form of fucking settlement. Like, the only time I found out about it, apparently they had given a statement to Green Market, and Green Market's like, hey, I got to hold this. He was hitting me up, and then next thing I know, by the time I got on the phone, because I was busy, he was asking me for quotes on a lawsuit that I didn't even know was dropped yet. Then they, had sent it over to my lawyer. And by the way, I just quote off the cuff. It don't take. They probably took like fucking 3 days to write that carefully crafted statement. I'll just fucking say whatever off the cuff to whoever calls, because it just happens to be true, and I don't need to fucking run it through the fucking lawyer and the media and the PR and whatever other lens they run it through so that it fucking works. But like, that statement is really laughable. Again, whatever your opinion is on the Glass House case, you could have that opinion, but anybody who reads that statement and doesn't think it's the biggest laughable pile of steamy shit is tripping. And the last thing I'll say is they're just huge fucking pussies.
Damn, son. This is a heavyweight fight that everybody's been watching in the industry, not just in California. Elliot, when can we expect the next round to be ringing into place?
So the other thing is, they would have tried to get us to surrender our offensive case if they didn't think they were totally fucked, right? They didn't even get that. So they're filing for a judgment on the pleadings, which is a technical filing that basically is saying like, hey, you can't likely prove exactly what you were damaged. And we saw that move coming too. We've actually been really good. Credit to Jeff on that one, the collective that they would make that claim. So we're suing for no money, right? We're just suing for them to stop. And then there's the same discovery battle over the same items. The defamation case just happened to be ahead. So we've been assigned a discovery referee, and I assume, whatever you want to call it, 4 to 6 months of trench warfare. You never know in these things. We could lose the judgment on the pleadings, but in so much as we're basically going to try to get them back into the same scorpion deathlock that we had them in before. That's probably 6 months away. I'm assuming they're going to do their not give it up, fucking reconsideration, maybe file a writ, hand us over some more bullshit. We'll have to go back into court. That all takes time, especially in LA. But ballpark, assuming that we don't get knocked off on the pleading stuff and the discovery referee isn't full crazy, within 6 months in the new case, we should have this ball down from the 40-yard line inside the 5, and we'll see what they do then. That will be fascinating, because this time they don't get to drop it.
Fair enough.
We'll be watching.
Yes, we will be watching. We'll be covering it all here at High at Night News. Most definitely. We'll be closely following along, without a doubt. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yes. Thank you very much for having us today. Rico, you ready to go?
I'm always ready to go, man. I'm kind of like, John Legend.
Oh boy.
Over here.
Oh boy.
Ready to go right now. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But thank you all.
Hold on. I have one quick thing before we go. One quick thing.
A quickie?
One quick thing.
Put it in. Put it in there, man.
Do you think? I think we need to get the internet on this. I think we need some memes. I think basically for this battle, this is like the Kendrick Lamar Drake battle, but cannabis wise, when it was Glass House versus Catalyst. What do you think, Rico?
No.
Me and Anna are so old, we don't know how to make them. We were pulling.
I don't want to throw around lightly the accusations that were made.
I wasn't trying to say that. I was just like I wasn't trying to put any of those type of accusations involved. That was nothing there.
I would say Catalyst versus Glass House is more, that's more like, J. Cole and J. Cole versus Drake.
J. Cole versus Drake. Okay. All right. J. Cole versus Drake. Okay.
J. Cole versus Drake. You know what I'm saying? And
all right. Internet world, you have some work to do.
Yeah, I'm trying to be careful with my my analogies here because I don't want to make any accusations of anybody being a PDF file downloader.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
But y'all know who the big business industry is, and all about weed for the people over here. So it is what it is.
Weed for the people.
And we'll see how it plays out.
Hold on, Elliot. Before you close out, Elliot, can we get a official weed for the people? For the people.
Weed for the people.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes. Makes us smile every single time. But thank you all for joining us for another episode of High at 9 News. You can catch us live weekdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to our super fans showing love, getting their comments posted live on the big screen. Who we have today, Jason?
Oh, yes.
We had Anna.
Yeah.
The suit of music.
That's right. Thank you all so much.
There today.
Hold on.
Yes. Yeah. We had a new one on there today. Who was new in the room today?
Mm-hmm. The C word. The C word.
The C word.
Thank you to the C word. Yeah, big L shout out to the C word. Yes. Yes.
Hopefully, there's a first of many, and we promise we'll never let you down. Big shout out to all the super fans showing love, getting their comments posted live on the big screen, live audience and online supporters catching us across all media platforms, tuning in each day to the headlines of chaos, also known as the developing cannabis industry. Our vetted correspondent team tuning in from all over, bringing us much needed variety of perspective and your respected opinions to the table. Our production team, Cloud Media Partners, all the sponsors keeping the lights on, AV struggles to a minimum, and of course, Adam, back there, feathering the shit out of his hair, looking like a cross between the Bee Gees, backup dancer, and maybe John Travolta's stunt double. I don't know. Which one is it today? Also, Cannabis Sativa L, the reason why we show up to read these stories every single day. Thank you too, baby girl. My name is Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High at 9 News, America's #1 daily cannabis news show. And today, I'm gonna give a little something to our special guest, man, Elliot.
Oh, yes.
Why don't you take us out? Give us a good positive note to leave the people on today.
Oh man, I just want to give shout out to High at 9. A lot of times I have the pleasure of overhearing it on my way out the house. Now it's real nearby. You guys, hit the hard-hitting news every day. So shout out to each and every one of you for what you do. You're uplifting the industry, bringing the important stories to the people, and guys are doing a great job. Just humbled to be here and throw my 2 cents on it, or 3 cents.
Oh,
inflation's a bitch, man.
Inflation, yeah.